Hi there, it's Mr. Tush over at Global, and today we're going to talk about tables. And why are we talking about tables? Well, the reason we are is one of the very first things that everybody notices about web pages is that they do things side by side. Very commonly, you have tops and bottoms of pages that go across things, and the sides lay out side by side. But when you first start coding in HTML, everything's vertical. It's just in one long line down the page, and there's really not a way to put things side by side yet. Well, long time ago, they did figure out how to make it look a little more natural, like a printed document. And to do that, they use something called tables. And that's why we're going to talk about that today. Now, let's go through the procedure. I gave you this page. It's under Unit 3 and a link called Tables. It's Unit 3, Lesson 3. And what's going to happen is we're going to talk about what to do step by step. And most of this will go fairly quickly until you get to step 5. And this will take most of your time. Let's go through 1 through 4. In a Google Doc somewhere, create a top 10 list of your favorite songs and artists, or players and teams, or foods and countries they are from, or something like that. I expect you're going to stop the video. You're going to open up a new top 10 list somewhere on your Google Drive, and then just make a top 10 list of I chose favorite songs. These are my 10 favorite songs right now. Honestly, by Monday, this could all change. This is just my favorite songs right now at this moment. And I made a top 10 list of who they are and what they are, and really in no particular order. And then when you do that, come back to here and restart the video. So go ahead and make this list. Pause the video first, make this list, and then come back. Now, back and your list is done. Now you're going to open your site and set up the browser and text files side by side. Remember, this is the way we work. We work in this class. We've been doing this for a while now, where you're going to set up on one side your browser right here on the left, and then on the other side you're going to have your home page. So I went and I opened this up, and I went into File, Open File. This is in Chrome, and I navigated to my student website, and I picked the home file, and I clicked it, and I opened it, and of course this is what it gave me. And I don't need to do anything with the links. It goes quickly between the two. And then I'm going to go over to Text Edit. You highlight something in Text Edit in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see Text Edit. Go to File, New. Now I have a new document. It's a new blank document. If you do it right, it should look just like this. If you see, all kinds of funky things in the header here, tell Mr. Tush right away. It should just have this document. And then it says, create a new page called Table 1 HTML. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go to Save, File, Save. And we're in Student Website, and it says Table1.html. We'll click Save. Now we've got it open. All right. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to put in, what does it tell me to do? Doc type tag at the very top. So I'm going to put in open a tag, exclamation point, caps lock, DOCTYPE, space, lowercase, take the caps lock off, HTML, close it. And then it says, be sure to put in the HTML head and body tags. Whoa, wait a second, what was that? Oh yeah, it's all this stuff. The first thing we do is we put in the HTML tags. HTML, give me a bajillion spaces, close it. Then over here, we're going to go to head and close it. And then underneath it, we're going to put body. Make sure you open the tag. And I'll give myself some space. And that'll close it. And I'll click Save. And then just to be sure I know what I'm doing, and this is an add-on, you don't have to do this, I'm going to put in title, my favorite songs. I'll do something novel and spell that correctly. I'll click Save, and I keep saving this. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to open it by hitting File. I'm in Chrome now. I'm in Chrome. Go to File, Open File, and there's my page. And there's my tab. And I know I'm right because I said my favorite songs need to be the title, and it's up there in the title. Let's go over to the body tag. Now, if you're not sure how to structure a table, I actually did give you a model here. And the model should be somewhat helpful to you. What we're going to do is we are going to put in, for our table setup, we are going to put in a bunch of rows and columns. And that's the way tables work, okay? You should understand when you look at this. Each one of these right here, With You and Pippin, You're Still You and Josh Groban, Song and Artist Show, these are each rows. You want to look at the list this way, up and down. These are called columns, like columns in front of the Parthenon or a big government building or something. Those are columns. So rows, columns, and then up here you have this special row called the header. And that's simply that. It's just the header rows. It says that everything in this column is songs, everything in this column is the artist or the show that it's from. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my table style heading. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell it that first of all, I'm going to put in a table. And I'm going to close that table down here. So I know that everything between here is a table. And just to keep it neat, I'm going to indent this and hit Tab and make sure my tables are side by side. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to have my rows put in, right? So in order to do that, I'm going to put in a table row. So I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to go in indent one and go table row. All right, TR. And the word for table row is TR. I'll actually give myself a couple of spaces and I'm going to close that table row. Now I've told it that there's a table row. And then underneath that, I'm going to put in something called a table header, TH. Table header is, let's see what I have to put. I have to tell it song, all right? So I'm going to say song. I'm going to close off my table header. And I'm going to put another underneath it in this row. Table header. And then artist. And table header. Close it. Save. All I have here is song and artist. Now if you look, it's kind of cramped here, isn't it? Not such a fan of that. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell it to put it across the page. So I'm going to add a style tag. I'm going to add a style tag to the table header. So watch this. I'm going to put in style equals quote width, and I'm going to say colon, and I'm going to say 100%, and then I'm going to put in a close quote, and then I'm going to save it. I'm going to refresh it. And look what it did. It spread my list across 100% of the page. Now, if I make it wider, it will follow it. If I make it narrower, it will follow it. It will follow the width of the page. I actually don't like it being quite that wide. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to change this to 70% and save it and refresh it. And that's going to go about 70% of the page. Now, so far I've got my header and I've got my first row. Well, I want to add a row. So watch this. I'm going to add another table row, TR. I'm going to go down a couple of rows. I'm going to close it. And I've got another row, but I have no values. Now, the way a table is built across in lines. So to give me my first two table headings, I had to say song and artist show. I had to go across the lines. The next row I have to put in across, as if I were handwriting it. I have to kind of put it in vertically, as if I were handwriting it. First write song, then go over here and write artist show, then skip a row, then write with you, then write Pippin. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to go right in here, and I'm going to write in table TD, which is for a table cell. And if we have a cell in a table, I'm going to put that in. And the first thing I need to put in is we're going to do with you and Pippin. So with you, and we're going to put in TD, close. I'm going to put in another thing underneath it. It says TD Pippin, close TD. And then I'm going to click Save. And now, when I refresh the page, there it is. They're a little off center because I've centered my headers automatically. I haven't centered this. What happens if I put in the next one? Well, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste this in, fix my formatting. I'm going to change my content. So instead of putting in the same thing twice, you're still you and Josh Groban. So I'm going to go in here and put in you're still you and Josh Groban. Save, refresh. That's what we do. And on we go. Now you're going to have to repeat this several more times to get everything in. So watch, I'll put this in. I'll put in another list. And scenes from an Italian restaurant, Billy Joel. Save, double check it. You'll see that it continues to build. As long as the entire thing uses 70% of the page, it will start to build in my tables. Now, why doesn't it have these lines? We're going to get into formatting that in a later video. For this exercise, all I need you to do is build your top 10 list, 10 rows deep. This is going to take most of your coding time. Now, finally, the last thing you need to do is when you're done, you need to write a link that goes back to home and the link that from home to this list. So we're going to go in and we're going to put in our links. Now, if you remember, you already know how to do your links right down here. I'm going to go down here to the bottom of the page and give myself a break tag so it stays below my link. I'm going to put in a link, href, and I'm going to put in quotes, home.html, because I'm going back home, and I'm going to call it home. I'm going to close the attribute tag, save, and this should show up as a link. Did not. And why did it not? Because I have a bad code. You see I missed my equal sign. That was a mistake. It happens. I'll refresh the page. There it is as a link. It goes back. I have to click my back button because I don't have a way of getting to this page. So I'm also going to add a link here. Now, you've already added a link the hard way. You want to add another link. You copy and you paste. Put this in and you change the link parameters by saying my favorite songs, and you send it to table1.html. Be smart. Work hard, but work smart. Now, here's my link to home, my favorite songs, and you'll see that if I go to my link to home, that doesn't look right because I forgot to put in what? Pause for you to get the right answer. Put in a break tag. So I'm going to put in a break tag. And there it is. And now I have two links going back and forth between my favorite songs and that. For today, for this lesson, just create your table. Eventually, I will show you how to make these table layouts so that they cover, they allow you to put pictures side by side with text and all of those things. We'll get to that later. But for now, just build yourself a table. And good luck and happy hunting.